Talking about some of the different things that happen, one of the issues that we hear a lot about is bullying in schools. And wondered, what about bullying? How do you deal with that? Because it seems like if you call attention to it, then the bully beats up the victim even more. What do you do?
Well, in the schools, you pretty much call attention to it as a large group setting instead of actually pointing out the bully. We do classes and go in for large group guidance where we actually take over the class for about 30 to 45 minutes. And that's a big thing for teachers to give up that amount of time with all the with all the NCLB. But social skills are just as important as academic skills. And so the school counselor goes in for about 30 to 45 minutes and discusses ways to handle a bullying situation. And the biggest one is to befriend the bully, which you say to children and they're like, but they're mean to me. And so you kind of have to back up and brainstorm as to why that would be helpful. And for middle school to high school students, that's usually a very easy discussion because they can go there with you as far as understanding that the shootings and all of the disasters that happened because they were extreme bullies, that they felt as if they didn't fit in. And so if you befriend the bully, then you've done two things. You've stopped them from bullying you, and you've stopped them from bullying others because they don't have to beat up other people.
Okay. Bullying creates a bad environment for the school. It's the equivalent of a hostile workplace for an adult. The ideas that you just talked about regarding bullies, I would also extend to say that bullies are often being bullied themselves in many ways in their own personal lives. But the behavior itself really is intolerable in a school setting. In our area in Virginia, I would tell you that many times the parents of the child being bullied who then complain about that are told, well, we didn't see it, so we can't do anything. In other words, it's it's unobserved, and so there's no foul called.
No harm, no foul. It's like we didn't see it, so it didn't happen.
That's right. And so rules of evidence, kind of like in a courtroom, are tying the hands of the authorities at school. Is that how you find it here?
Not, and since it's become a lot easier in the school system since Kentucky put in a no bullying law last fall. And so if a child comes to the teacher or the school counselor and complains of being bullied, it has to be researched just as a fight or just as any other form of violence. And so then the children who are being complained against are brought in for question, as well as the other students that are involved. So it's become a little easier within the school system to address because of that no tolerance law that was placed in the books.
An impediment in Virginia also for the school officials has been, in certain municipalities, a requirement for statistics, particularly demographics, about the children involved. And that becomes a very hot button topic.
Well, tell me, Dr. Devitt, as a child psychiatrist, what kinds of things are you mostly seeing? What are the problems or issues that the children are faced with?
The single most common question that a parent will call about is, does my child have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder? Now, there are many other things out there that are possibilities, but I think that is a pretty modal response and one you would get from most child psychiatrists about the purpose of the call as stated to the receptionist taking the message.
Okay, now Dr. Rose, like in our office at Frager Associates, she does a lot of testing of children who have this problem. As a psychiatrist, do you first get them tested with a psychologist, or what do you do?
Well, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is a clinical diagnosis. It's not one that is made by testing. There's also no blood test or no imaging exam like an EEG or one of the super versions of the CAT scans that would tell us that this is ADHD. It's based on
Behavioral
particular observations of behavior that are verified across other settings. So not just in a single setting.
What we do as psychologists also.
The testing is very, very helpful. The testing provides a portion of that. And I'm sure Dr. Rose can talk more about what particular aspect, what types of tests might help with that.
Yeah. We actually, it's as you mentioned, it's across settings. With the testing, we have the parent fill out a diagnostic format, and then the teachers fill out a diagnostic format. If it's a middle or high school student, then they have several teachers. And so the best way is to get 3 or 4 teachers, and so you've got that across settings, because as you said, there really isn't a blood test or any one thing that can define ADHD, but we measure it across settings from parent.